Hi, everyone. Metaphysical Mama. Welcome. If it's your first time, or if you're a repeater, a frequenter, or if you've been before, welcome back. Sorry, not repeater. I don't really like that word. Sorry. Tune and bowl. Take a couple breaths. Get rid of some of that static energy, maybe that's holding on, hanging out inside your vessel. Just allow it to clear. Take a few deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. How's everybody? Today's Thursday, April, I believe it's 22nd, 2021, as far as timestamps go. And I just thought it seems funny. I was recognizing I tend to do runes or get guided to pull a rune on Thursdays for the day of Thor, lightning. So let's see what my bag of runes has to say energetically. And then we'll play with some cards and just surf around and see what we got popping with the collective. Let's pick one. Oh, look at that. How cool is that? Lightning for Thorsday. That's awesome. Can you see that? I hope. I hope you can see that. I think so. And let's pick one with the right hand too, not to make the left hand jealous. What we got? All right. So we got two runes to take a look at. Have a look see. So this represents wholeness, and this rune represents growth. That's pretty beautiful. And I should say that's absolutely, collectively where we're at. There's a lot of different, right? A lot of different variables coming into play and a lot of different moments in time. And, we feel different throughout our day, throughout our night, right? We go through lots of changes throughout our days and nights, how we think and how we feel, or how we may think our day's going to go. And then it turns out, right, a different way. We may have a plan to write work where someone gets sick and then we can't go to work, or we have a big presentation and then something, right? Someone or somebody or something needs our help and we can't tend to what we had planned, right? Or our day shifts, what we had planned ends up turning out, like I said, right? Different ways. Something happens and right, phone call or whatever may happen spontaneously and change our right human man plan that we have in our head that we want to do or that we had, feelings attached to. Um, Kind of like the Harry Chapin song reminding me of, if anyone's familiar. It's called Cats in the Cradle. Cats in the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man in the moon. When you're coming home. I think it starts off with Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. Son, know we'll have a good time then. And then the song continues and it goes on as the son gets older, then he has a family and he gets busy with life. And then he starts telling his dad, like, oh, we'll get together soon, one of these days, one of these days. And sometimes one of those days never happens, right? So sometimes the divine or universal law needs to, bump us into a different lane in order for us to get back on our cosmic spiritual earth journey path, which we may not like too much in our human day-to-day life, right? Like we've had to stop. So many things have been closed down due to the virus, the Osiris virus, Cyrus. I'm only playing with the words. Right, because O is like a ring, so to go round and round our daily life, right, and a repeat, round and round, can be quite, sorry, I didn't realize, I don't know if I have my stick all up in the view of the camera. So yeah, we can tend to, we get stuck in our ruts, in our routines, and we don't like change, but change is the only constant. Constantine. And we can, have quite a bit of confusion going on while we're traveling through, right? Upon our soul's journey. Actually, before I read a card, let's pull a soul's journey card too, just to give us a little more in-depth perception. What do we need to take a look at, or what can we be confident in so that we have some balance, right? As a collective, what do we need to see? And this is mostly for well, it's for everybody, but first wave, second wave, third wave, twin flames, 144, whatever you want to label, everyone, everybody. For if you're guided here, it's for you, whatever you may think you are, or whatever you label yourself. We're learning to kind of detach from all the labels that we and names we call ourselves, and right, the possessions, so to speak, that we attach to who we are, what we think we are. That's part of kind of tearing down our tower, our matrix, the walls we've built around us, right? To truly to protect our heart. I mean, think of, like if we're in the center, little mustard, little seed, and this sprouted, right? Pine cone is super symbolic as well. The Fibonacci, the spiral, and how it flowers, right? And so, and this kind of it's like we want to have many fruits blooming from our, right? Here's our center, right in our center of our chest. This is like where your fountain sprouts, right? Or it could represent the spine, right, coming up the back. And the Kundalini, the snakes are rising. So as they're, right, Jacob's ladder, climbing up the spine and activating different DNA codes, light codes, right, get activated, and we get awoken. It triggers, right, different, say, virus. A virus is always dormant within a cell, right? It's the sleeping atom. So in a circle, right? Like say like a peace sign, which you want to flip so that the sprout is coming upwards. That peace sign upside down is like bringing energy down. So we want to flip that so that it's growing upward toward the sun. Like us standing with our arms open, feet together, right? And then also we're being the pillar, right? And grounded in the center, and allowing positive and negative and all the different feelings and what have you that we're experiencing to arise within our vessel, right? And we're balancing that energy, right? Okay. What we got? Perseverance. That's funny. Wait, what did I just? Oh, you know what? That's the. I was watching Tyler popped back up this morning. I haven't seen him in a long time. If anyone's familiar with Secure Team, and he was referring to like the rovers and what they've sent to Mars, what NASA says they've been using their tax money to send to Mars. But again, right, things are all a little bit fishy and foggy right now. But one of the moon, there's phobia, like it's like right, fear and phobia are two moons that travel around Mars, and one's natural and the other is said artificial. Well, one of I think phobia stands for perseverance. That's pretty cool. And Mars is in Gemini, but will be entering Cancer tomorrow, which is real awesome. I know that I can do whatever I set my mind to. Ha! As I was just saying earlier, yeah, we may have plans, right? And set. Okay, so sets up Osiris, right? But you can't get in that box. But you can't stick to your plan. But you can't keep to your right. So this is kind of right. I'm gonna read this actually too. So we'll read that because that's funny, right? The duality of so perseverance can be a determined goal, which is very Mars, and a determined idea. But we want to be careful not to have too much of a set plan, right? Don't set too much in concrete and stone because, well, as we all know, everything's quite up in the air right now, right? So to be more fluid, again, I keep saying, like Bruce Lee said, be like water. Success is very important, right? To be fluid. So, because things may not turn out exactly as we plan, right? And so it's very important to be able to go with the flow because things are going to kind of keep flipping and right. So to not hang on too much to our illusions, what we think we know. And the mind, again, is very different than the brain. And the brain, right, holds on to things. It's a receiver. So it's like a wet sponge, right? Think when you wash dishes, you have to wet your sponge first, right? A dry sponge doesn't absorb the soap and doesn't help you clean your dishes. You have to wet it with warm water and put some soap on it, right? In order to, or vinegar or something, right? In order to clean your, has to have a little moisture, right? Or steam hot water, right? In order to clean something. So same with our vessel and our brain, right? It has to get heated up and steamed up, and so we have to, right? We're like nuclear reactors, going back again to the dormant atom. If you think of like this singing bowl as a cell, an atom within each, all the atoms, the molecules in our body floating around in our living salt water body, right? And all in and out because everything's water. So even though we seem solid, right, everything's flowing in and out like a wave. So if there's three parts, right, like Gilgamesh, 2/3 God, 1/3 part man, right? And the 3% could represent our human DNA, right? So that's what's getting awoken and activated and mixed up in the bowl with our cosmic and our, right, divine DNA is getting all mixed up with our human, our animal spirit, all of our stuff, right? It's all getting mixed up. So each atom that gets awoken, right? Adam got put to sleep by Eve. So we've shut off our emotions and our heart chakra. Okay. And in that process, as we're awakening now, right, we have built this big castle wall. We have calloused hearts and calloused emotional bodies, right? A lot of, like, say, draconian don't have vagus nerve, and so they don't have, a lot of them don't carry empathy, right? Having a sensation or experiencing, yeah, like a sensation isn't the same, right, as intuition or a gut feeling or empathy, sympathy, right? Slightly, they're different. Um, so as we're experiencing, I have to stick this in here, the different mixtures that get activated while each cell gets awoken, depending on, right, what's in your cup, what elements, right, from the periodic table your body holds, right, as a person, right, an individual star, an individual sun, right? You have a specific code, a specific generic gene code, right? What's in your gene pool, in your cup, your holy grail, your vessel, right? Your container, etc. Right? How many, right? Your tree of life, your what's in, then goes down into your roots, right? We were born into human families, but we had planetary families and cosmic families and soul families and, right, all these other extra, all that is very important too. Animal, we were animals and plants and minerals, all that before we got to have our awesome human vessels that we're running around in now thinking we know everything. We just forgot where the fuck we came from, right? We're so funny. We're the ones we've been waiting for. Wake up. Whoa, whoa, whoa. We're in denial. We're in denial. Doesn't that, right? And then, oh, the Euphrates and the Time Trust. Always popping out. I love that card. The Euphrates and the Tigris River can represent, again, the Kundalini traveling up either side of the spine, activating Jacob's ladder, right? The DNA code, the double helix. Growth. That's awesome. And that represents growth. Oh, oh, oh. What else we got? I am learning that worry doesn't change an outcome. Yeah, worry can bring a lot of static. We can end up attracting a lot more of what we don't want when we're holding on to a lot of worry about ourselves, about something, about another. Carrying guilt. Guilt and shame are two huge obstructions to love, blockages to where we want to be, right, in order to have success and perseverance and growth. Don't allow guilt and shame and worry to get you all caught up, right, tangled up in the weeds, in the net. And your health is your wealth. We want to be abundant and balanced in all forms as we're allowing our tree of life to sprout, right, and to grow into all of its divinity. So we want to be patient. We don't yell at a child, right, to be born. We can't be, we might yell while we're giving birth because it hurts, but, right, and that's what we're doing now, is birthing ourselves, right, death and rebirth, birthing ourselves. So we have to remember to breathe, right, going back to the George Floyd, right, I can't breathe. We want to remember to breathe both ways. That's our first duality, right? We come from the mother's womb, from a liquid environment. And before we're in the mother's womb, where did we come from? Fear and envy, those can get in our way. Fear, false evidence appearing real. I realize that I am testing my resolve to live in the energy of love. I was just saying, right? So guilt, resentment, worry, shame, fear, that can get in our way. But also we want to recognize we're experiencing those things so that we are able to have resolve and live in the energy of love, right? Not have all those yucky feelings and second guesses and like, is it this? Is it that? Should I do that? Am I supposed to do that? Right? Envy. I am the same as everybody, but with different challenges. Absolutely. And then also, you're not alone because a lot of these things that we're going through, again, we're all going through, right? Going through the frickin' needle. It says it's easier to put a camel through the head of a needle or something, right? Giving birth. There you go. Than it is to get I think it's like a Christian to drink at the well, but no offense if you're a Christian. I grew up being, on forgiveness. Um, Born into the family of such nature. But it always made me scratch my head. Like I'm still very spiritual, and there's like again this everything is um has a beauty to it, and but we don't to cling too much to certain things. Like when people say worship or pray, I mean think about that word pray. If I'm praying to another being or another God and asking for something, and generally, do people mostly pray only after shit's fucked up, right? So if you pray, you become prey, right? It's like you're asking for it. You're knocking on whose door are you knocking on? Are you sure? Do you know whose door you're knocking on, or who you're talking to, who you think you're talking to, who you're calling upon, summoning, right? It's like a summons for court. Who are you summoning? So it's just and it doesn't mean like, oh my goodness, freak out now. No, it just is like be a little more fluid and light, and don't go knocking on people's doors that you don't know. I don't knock on someone's door I don't know, so I wouldn't go praying to something that I don't have awareness why would I, that just doesn't really make any logical sense to me. um so being respectful, having gratitude, learning about the different deities and entities and say gods, goddesses, etc., because that's all valid, and having appreciation and love and connecting with um, is a very different thing than putting something, a person, place, or thing, right, above or below self, right? So whether it's a person, place, or thing, seen or unseen, if I do or don't have knowledge, I do my best to be respectful, right, of other people's living waters. We're all in living waters. So if I respect you and your living waters, to respect me and mine, and then as we travel through, right, if I step on someone's toe, it's like, oh, okay, so I apologize. Then I'd like to know, right? Constructive criticism helps me to be aware, right? Again, like going back to having fear, right? I realize that I am testing my resolve to live in the energy of love. So when we're scared, fear can be, right? I'm afraid I'm not going to be accepted. I'm afraid I'm not going to be good enough. I'm afraid they won't like me. I'm afraid what I say is too taboo and they're gonna blah blah blah. I'm afraid to wear my hair like that. I'm afraid to change my look. I'm afraid to change my job. I'm afraid to leave this relationship, right? Whether that's from work or a town you live in or a relationship, say it could be a relationship with, it could be a drug. It could be, all right, drinking. You have a relationship with drinking, right? That's a very difficult relationship to stop. And that's a spiritual and emotional disease. So if you take away the drink, right? If you take away the apple can represent anything in the garden, right? Adam and Eve. What's the apple? So whatever we're going to try to take away, or whatever we say, just don't touch that. You can touch anything in the garden, right? But not that. Right? But not that. Not the egg. Just don't touch the egg. Anything else you can touch, just not that. Next to that tree. Don't touch that egg or that tree. Everything else you could touch freely. Of course, we're going to wonder why we can't touch that. Why is this the only thing I can't touch? Right? So then what's going to happen is our focus is going to become on the one thing we're not supposed to touch, or don't go in that door. You can go in any other door, just not that one. You can go on any other floor, just not down in the basement. What's in the basement? What's in the attic? So yeah, I'm just playing around, but let's actually, I'm gonna pull a goddess energy card. What feminine energy could we use to, or goddess energy, to balance out all our fear while we're going through growth pains, birthing pains? I gotta stand up. Oh. Yeah, because let me just give you a big hug and pat yourself on the back and give yourself, right, a round of applause. Do something nice for yourself today. Something small. It doesn't have to be something big. Do something divine for yourself. What's something you used to love to do as a child that you have not done in a long time? Did you take advantage of this time that we've had right? What's COVID? Co is more than one, right? Whoa. Like, as I say that, all the cards go falling. But these are the two that popped up. Look, Lilith and co-creation. 29 is Lilith. Independence. We're getting rid of codependency. And Spider Woman. That's fucking awesome. I pulled actually earlier today the spider card and the porcupine. So there's a little bit of shadows. Sorry. Hopefully see those okay. That's pretty badass cards. Dun, 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 dun. Saraswati Mastery. Yep, this okay. 44. Parvati. Devotion. So that's pretty too. He, the sun. Here comes the sun. Da-na-na-na. And look, corona. Do you see the corona around her head? Right? That's our crown chakra, right? Or the solar plexus. There's golden child. Golden calves. Skuld. The future. That goes well with the runes. Thorsday. Viking, Norse energy. Who's this? Oh, Artemis. Focus. So quite a few goddesses wanted to pop out, huh? That was quite beautiful. We'll appreciate that, right? So let's read about let's read the runes that we got. So wholeness, represents the sun, which we just pulled, life force, and victory. So let's get into that. And then this again is for growth. And growth represents, just on the other little page here before I go into the readings. Where are you? Birch tree. Oh, the birch trees. I love birch trees. Associated with fertility rites, rebirth, and new life. Whoop-de-woo. And we're going to pull a moon card there after too. Let's see, 139. So let's see, Sowilu, 24. And if you'd like, you can, sorry about the shadow. You can pause the video and that way you can read it here on your own if you'd like. Sowilu stands for wholeness, that which our nation requires. It embodies the impulse towards self-realization and indicates the path you must follow, not from ulterior motives, right? The gut, that's what I was saying. The solar plexus, right? Again, that's like the yellow and the green here, right? The solar plexus is like the gut area, which at this, the gut has a completely different nervous system than the rest of the body, right? So it has a different mind of its own, right? Cthulhu, belly button, the navel, one eye. And the gut is also connected to the other hole on the other side, right? Uranus, right? So Saturn, Uranus, very Neptunian. All right. So let's see. So yeah, not from ulterior motives, but from the core of your individuality. So again, we can fear being individuals, right? Because it's a lot more comfortable to be, right? Just like it's like, well, we don't want people to think we're right different or why we thinking whatever. But this is the time to allow your individuality to bloom, right? It's just like playing on the playground with other little kids. You're gonna go play, we're gonna share toys, build a castle together, right? Play some kind of imaginary game, house, cops and robbers, pirate ship. Isn't that kind of what we're all doing right now? Did you all forget how to dream and play? That's important. Divine femininity or fertility. Okay, for wholeness. Seeking after wholeness is the spiritual warrior's quest. And yet, what you are striving to become, in actuality, is what by nature you already are. Become conscious of your essence and bring it into form. Express it in a creative way, right? Just like we're just saying about divine femininity. Because that's our creative force. A rune of great power, making life force available to you. Sowilu marks a time for regeneration down to the cellular level, which is so great because that's what we're just just talking about all that with the atoms, the dormant sleeping atom, which really represents, right, sleeping Osiris. We're waking Osiris from the dead, or the sleeping atom, allowing it to travel up Jacob's ladder, right? As we're traveling through the asteroid belt, each asteroids are feminine. So each asteroid, as the sun goes by, the radiation, and then the asteroid awakens the sleeping atom, and then that activates the emotional Eve, which then gets mixed up with Mercury, right, the mental, and causes confusion. So that's Cain Abel. We have then positive and negative thoughts and feelings all scattered around, going all over the place. So we want to make sure that we don't have ulterior motives during that confusion when we're allowing these things to sprout and open and be birthed, right? There are different things opening, blooming, different books of life, different ancestors, right? Your sleeping ancestors, your what the universe is inside of you. So what is asleep, right? Is dormant DNA and esoteric lay. We have memory. So we have cellular memory data. So as we're awakening, those, right, they spiral and bloom, right? So you can get very exhausted also during these times because you're processing so much information, right? This is the information age, right? The age of information, age of Aquarius, golden age. So coming into, right, again, the corona, the golden age, golden light, being able to see the light, right? Shining within the dark and being guided by, right, Father Saturn, Satan, Santa Claus, so many different, right? The stepfather, adoptive father, foster father, right? And then Enlil, it's the two fathers. So they've been playing with everybody the whole time, right? And then they've been asleep as well, the sleeping giants becoming awoken, right, in hibernation. So because they've had to have experience too. We all are having, right, different experience. So as we're traveling through, we want to be gentle to them too, right? Because, think about a bear waking up for hibernation or someone, asleep from amnesia, or that's been a soldier, soul buyer, soldiers at war. As I just said that, the highway passes by behind me there. A truck with the word Titan just drove by. um, so again, soul dyers. There's a lot of PTSD. There's a lot of confusion, a lot of bad dreams, right? There's good dreams and there's nightmares, right? And like the nursery rhyme or the song, right? Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream, right? We're going down the streams of consciousness. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. Right? So we've been dreaming together for so long. Now we're awakening as we've been, right, still having our human lives. Like part of our consciousness has been asleep, right? Subconscious, unconscious. So patience is a very, very important virtue to carry, right? Carry patience. So, and be patient. So you don't have to become a patient, right? All right. A rune of great power, making life force available to you, Sowilu, marks the time for regeneration down to the cellular level. Although this rune has no reversed position, there is no reason for caution. You may see fit to withdraw or even to retreat in the face of a pressing situation, especially if events or people are demanding that you expend your energy now. Right. So that's what we're learning, to withdraw some of our energy that we just keep tossing out and throwing out and unconsciously giving away. Or we keep doing it because we feel like we're supposed to, right? Because otherwise then we feel guilty. And then we worry that we're not going to be liked or that someone's going to get mad at us, right? If we don't show up and do the dishes or make dinner or blah, 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 do the laundry, go to the grocery store and spend all that money and then throw all that stuff out or make all that food that nobody wants to eat anyhow. Or are we even really hungry? Do we have to eat, or we just think we have to eat because we were told we're supposed to eat 3 meals a day and blah, 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 blah. Right. So it's really taking a look at, am I hungry? Do I have to eat right now? Do I need to? Or do I need to relax, right? And eat some spirit, right? Have a meal with spirit, which is free energy and doesn't cost a thing except being willing. Okay. Although this rune has no reverse position, there's no reason for caution. You may see fit to withdraw or even to retreat in the face of a pressing situation, excuse me, especially if events or people are demanding that you expend your energy now. Now that such a retreat is a retreat in strength, a voyage inward for centering, for balance, right? So spiral in. We want to have inner standing. Go through contemplation. Contemplation nation. Raise the vibration nation, right? And then we have, right, a musical congregation. We have to be right, good conductors of our symphony, right? What am I orchestrating? What am I producing? What am I a producer of? Like a movie, I'm projecting like a screen, right? My third eye's projecting, like the silver screen, the moon. Saturn and Uranus are like radio and TV. And then you could think of the moon like the silver screen, right? The picture screen that captures the picture. That's right, that the light and the sound are traveling to and through. And then Earth gets the info, right, from the moon and the sun, right? And from under, traveling up and through. Adam, right? Our thoughts and that's a constant. Adam and Eve's traveling through, right? Electricity, electromagnetic forces, and then thoughts and feelings, which are two different, right? Binary parallels, but that, right? But are coinciding, coinciding, right? So, and in quantum entanglement, we can confuse or get mixed up, right? We can all even confuse each other. So, right, it's like to really kind of lay off, right? Like to like right hand, like, oh, right. We don't want to throw cast stones or rocks, right? We don't want to throw no rocks. Who can cast a stone at a glass house that like, right, we might be on someone's oxygen line and they can't breathe. So now somebody else is right letting us know that right there's a clog in a line somewhere, or it could be that right. So we're getting like something's, and we're wondering what that energy is pushing or pulling, or it feels like holding us down or in our way, right? So to play with that energy to find out, right, like, well, what am I maybe quantum, what it like when there's a knot in your, right, in something, in a piece of jewelry or in it, right, you got to untangle a knot. So it's like, all right, well, where's there a kink, right, in the chain gang, right? Loosening up a little instead of being bound so tight, right? Everybody walking around like constipated, talking a bunch of shit. Again, that's why everybody wearing masks, right? Depends. It depends. All right, centering for balance. Timely retreat is among the skills of the spiritual warrior. Soilu counsels opening yourself up, letting the light into a part of your life that has been secret, shut away. We were just saying, right, that we build our castles. Think if you're in the center of the like how castles, the round parts that have like all the, and then they come up in the high peaks. It's like, right, all those bricks that we've built around ourselves. No, I'm fine. I don't need that. Blah, blah, blah. Right, we've put all these walls around us. So it can be, sometimes the light coming in can be what's scary, right? The light shining on those dark spots, those things that we have hidden or where we've been wounded, right? Our inner child can have a lot of fear, and that's, you know, we want to be the divine feminine and masculine and motherly and fatherly like we would to our inner child, right? Care for the inner little devil child that doesn't feel like it's loved, that feels like it's been abandoned. that feels right, all the harm, because that's what the devil or the ego represents. Also, is right. Also represents, it can be like cocky, ego, manipulative. Like, you really think you're gonna let them do that, or you're gonna let them treat you that way? Those kind of voices. But it could also be right. I'm scared. So the devil like kind of is like, it's like Batman in the cape. It's like, what's going on here? So it kind of comes to block, like that shadow, just right. I'll protect you. So it's kind of like the mask of Zorro, right? So it's like we want to be like, it's okay, both of you, right? It's okay, and we have love here, and we're working on right clearing our energy because we do care what happens to you and me and all of us. We want everyone to feel safe and secure and loved and accepted, because I do believe that's all any person or being, person, place, or thing wants. Super ego holding. Ego just that's on the truck that just drove by now. It's so funny, the different, right? Like, I mean, that cracks me up. The little things, the little synchronicities. Okay. Which is timing, right? Okay, so opening yourself up, letting the light into a part of your life that has been secret, right? So allowing those things to open up or shut away, or that we've been protecting. To accomplish this may call for a profound recognition, for admitting to yourself something that you have long denied, which also goes into like alcoholism. Because, like I was saying before, that's a spiritual and an emotional disease. So someone could have never drank ever in their life, and but they're alcoholic because they behave in the behavior isms because they don't have right a mature emotional body in order to go through contemplation and have discernment, right, to bring balance so that they're not allowing the devil to run the show, thinking that they know, right? When we think we know, that's our human self. It's like, gotta go. You gotta go, Joe. So we allow the divine to come in and blend, right? Communicate with spirit. We're going to have a meal with spirit. We're going to allow Mother Nature to step on in and let us remember, right? Our kin, our little child inside that wants to play, right? And let them know that they're safe and it's okay, right? That's what the place to start before we bark and point and tell others what they have to do again, or throwing a rock, right? At right. There's an old saying, right? If we're pointing a finger at another, there's three more pointing back at us, right? So just a little. Okay. So may call for a profound recognition for admitting to self something that we have long denied. And right, we I think pulled in the denial card too, somewhere in there anyhow, because I know I've pulled it before. All right, there is a prayer known as the Gayatri. That's really funny. Check this out. As I'm reading that, my friend wrote this down for me a long time ago. Gayatri Mantra. So as I'm reading, just to show more synchronicities, hopefully you can see that. That's quite funny. So, and then see right here, the Gayatra, the Gayatri. I forgive my pronunciation. That embodies the spirit of the rune of wholeness. Address the sun in this fashion. Turn that back up. That's hysterical. You who are the source of all power, whose rays illuminate the world, illuminate also my heart so that it too can do your work. That's so funny. We're just talking about, right? The heart chakra, I think yellow and blue. It's like a lotus flower. Sorry, yellow. That's a solar plexus. Green. I'm looking at the yellow. Sorry. Yellow, blue, and green, though. Yeah, absolutely. Yellow from the sun, and blue and green are the heart chakra. They open like lotus flower, right? And the lotus flower is birthed by traveling up through the murky waters and then comes up and floats on top of the lily pad, right? But it has a long travel to come up through the dark, murky waters before it can be a beautiful lotus and bloom into I don't have a candle in here right now. Right, the lotus. So how many petals? Which also could represent to the 144,000 consciousnesses is Christ conscience. It's 144,000 consciousnesses that have Christ conscience. So let's put that there for now. Okay. So while reciting the Gayatri, visualize the sun's rays streaming forth into the world, entering your heart, then streaming out from your heart's center and back into the world. This is a powerful and life-enhancing prayer. There is a caution here not to give yourself airs. Even in a time of bountiful energy, you are required to face and vanquish your refusal to let right action flow through you. Nourish this capacity, for it is a mark of true humility, right? So again, even though we want, right, like I was saying before with the perseverance, that's what I start, right? So our mind may want certain things, and we in our mind, we have something planned, but we have to be open and willing to allow our plans to be changed, and so that we're able to connect with divinity, because it may show up right abruptly and bump us off our path. So depending on how we're behaving, right? Are you going to take your child, if you're about to take your child somewhere fun and nice, and then they start having temper tantrum and acting out, and they, some kids really act out, kicking and screaming, etc. Are you going to still take them to the park kicking and screaming? Or are you going to tell them, you know what, now we're not going to go today because you're showing me that your behavior, you're not able to behave well around others right now. So now we can't go be social. Now we're just going to go home. Right? So if we're behaving that way, we're digging our heels into the ground because that corona crown is so heavy that we think we're kings and queens, and our plans are more important than the divines, right? Little metaphor. Then we're going to end up stuck there, and then we're really going to be mad, right? So we may get upset when our plans get changed, but if we're more able to be a little more willing and a little more open-minded and allow a little more time and space, and remember to breathe, even though we might get upset that something just messed up our plans, breathe and know that that might be a master reset moment, right? Or it might be something that's leading toward that little shift in energy, right? Our little bit of willingness just shifted a whole grand big scale of things, just because we were willing in that now moment to accept whatever came our way and shifted, right? Hit us it got us with a wave, right? Or like if you're driving, somebody else merging onto your lane or coming up behind you too quick or stops in front of you abruptly, right? It's like, oh, we have to reevaluate, recalculate, maneuver, right? So it's like right how life happens. It's just being accepting and of life and allowing more fluidity rather than traveling round and round the solar system, right? The belly of the beast. We want to allow fluidity so that we're all able to dance, right? What's that song? Silent lucidity. Queensryche. I don't know why that just came. Not fluid. It's anyway, solidity. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. All right. Anyway. Okay. So not to give yourself errors, right? Too much, yeah, crown, too much like, oh, what I'm doing is more important. All right. Even in a time of bountiful energy, you're required to face and vanquish your refusal to let right action flow through you. Nourish this capacity, for it is a mark of true humility, being able to breathe and be present in our now moment and not allow another person, place, or thing to drag us off or pull us away from being in our divinity and our individuality. All right. Practice the art of doing without doing. Aim yourself truly. Aim yourself truly, and then maintain your aim without manipulative effort. Meditate on Christ's words. I can, of mine own self, do nothing. That's a fact, because we think everything's all up to us too. We put a lot of weight on ourselves too. Or we think, again, what is more important. What we're doing is more important. What I got to do is more important, et cetera, et cetera. And that's from John 5, chapter 5, or verse 30. So, for by our own power we do nothing, even in loving. It is love that loves through us, right? The divine spirit is love. Everything is love. The opposite of love is fear, not hate. There's no such thing as the word as hate. It's just fear. This way of thinking and being integrates new energies and permits us to flow into wholeness, which is the ultimate goal of the spiritual warrior, right? So a warrior is like tough and da 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 da, right? So, but also a warrior knows when and when not to fight and chooses its battles wisely, right? And the gift and the attainment, the goal of attainment is to conquer really well. I'm speaking for self and like my people's where our tribe here, right? It's like our goal is to detach with love, so to not have attachments, but still, right, be of love. So it's not allowing, again, having that balancing scale, or the tricky where we can get a little too, right, headstrong, or our guts pulling us, or our fear of lack. We're afraid we're not going to have a person, place, or thing. We're afraid of change, right? These are normal, totally normal feelings. So being a spiritual warrior and getting through them, is kick ass. Makes you a spiritual gangster. Right? Our behavioral, our mental, our material, our urges, right? Electromagnetic urges and surges that travel through us and can cause anxiety and uncomfortable feelings, right? Of, right? Electricity, Thorsday, right? Source. See what we got here. Moon energy card for us for the collective. My goodness. A little abrupt there. I'm going to keep shuffling because I don't feel like That was well, here we go. A win-win outcome. So I guess that is what we needed to see right there, huh? I shall let that be. What do we got on this hand? Conclusions are within reach. Hair, get off hair. Full moon eclipse. Ugh, there it is. My hair everywhere. We're about to have a full moon in Scorpio. So again, we're balancing out our scales. Full moon, Libra, the sun, Saturn, so win-win outcome. Again, like they say, right? All roads lead to Rome, and we've all been roaming for a long time. And then there's another saying that nature always finds its way home, right? The origin of nature always travels. Nature always travels back to its origin. So, or a jinn, right? And that's funny. The unseen jinn. Huh, that's funny. That was a happen upon. I love those little happen upons when the words happen to open up into a different form. The truck Black Horse just drove by with Black Horse on it. And there we go. You are very close to achieving your goal. Those are all wonderful, awesome sauce cards. Balance, spirituality, and practicality. So I think I'm going to leave it at that. This, again, was for growth. Maybe look into some symbology, allow this to bloom within you, right? The representation of growth where you need to balance spirituality and practicality in your life, right? Allow both to be balanced, right? To create wholeness, right? Allowing spirit and matter and practicality and emotionality. Right? Allowing ourselves to let go a little bit so we're not so codependent and grabbing onto things out of fear, right? That's like plutonic electronic urges and we're grabbing, right? I do that if I get scared in a movie or something, scary movies on, the person next to me better watch out. I'm super jumpy. I'm like, oh, whatever, right? It's like funny. Where do you like, how about that's a good question to question itself, right? Where do you feel very strong? Like, oh, that doesn't bother me, or oh, I'm so strong. I like that doesn't bother me. And then where other people are jumpy or grossed out, and it's like, but you have no problem dealing with it. And then something silly like a mouse or a bee or a bug or whatever can turn you into a right. You start screaming or a bird or some whatever it is that right makes you turn into freak out. Somebody sneaks up on you or is able to trigger you and make you jump. And actually, speaking of growth too, being afraid, jumping inside, like it does. It's like the fibers inside and etc. When we jump, think about that. It's like yeah. So it's like yeah. The the plant, the fibers inside gain strength due to a little bit of that right electric shock therapy that we're receiving. So again, to try to find the balance, the light, right, that's shining within the fear or the shadow, right, or the darkness. And again, sometimes the things that we have hiding in the dark that we're shining light upon, right, opening like my drawer, or opening little crack at a time to allow fluidity, so we see what we've been hiding or what's been dormant or asleep within our nature, within our tree, within our vessel, within our ancestral bloodline, right? What pipes need to be cleared? What quantum entanglement needs to be untangled? What are we attached or tangled up with? And it could maybe have nothing to do with you personally. It could have to do with your ancestral bloodline. And you're part of that. You're holding that energy in order to help clear that right now. Right. So, like, right in the name of your ancestors and, like, for the love of God, right? Let go so that we release and let freedom ring. Ding, 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 ding. So I so appreciate your time and energy and presence in this now moment and always, and just keep swimming and, remember to breathe, remember to have patience, a little sense of humor goes a long way. These are good ingredients to carry in your pocket, right? High vibrational frequency. And the more we allow ourselves to just be a little more open minded, right? Allow that light to come in, allow ourselves to look in the dark where we need to, or there might be some, big boo boo. We got gangrene and bandages all wrapping it up, or, right? The soldier may be wearing that, right? Tin Man wearing a armor that's covered in mildew and afraid to take it off, right? We're afraid to just take off our armor. And the only way we're able to do that is if we're willing to come from the place of love, because no one wants to be tricked or feel like, right? We can trust someone and then, right? And then that person it's like, right, the old tale of don't take candy from strangers or follow, go with someone that says they have a puppy for you, or, right? Have that drink from the guy in the bar, right? Take a ride with that guy. Right. So unfortunately, right, it's like learning to not have fear, but know when to not open our door either, right? To create a boundary, a healthy boundary. And we can only do that if we're willing to look within ourselves and acknowledge where we're hiding our pain and where we've been afraid. So we've been, right, where we can be reactive or protective because we don't want that boo boo to be opened, or for someone to take a person, place, or thing from us, right? Because then again, we're not sure what we would do. We're feeling fear of lack, right? Fear of change. And I'd rather have change in my pocket going ting-a-ling-a-ling, right? Than a dollar bill, y'all. Bills don't have no weight. Kill Bill. Oh. On that note, um, I bid you adieu. And if you would kindly please share and like and subscribe and click the little belly bell so you get notified, so we continue to grow our tribe and keep the movement moving. And any reading or bibble babble, that I end up popping on here, even in the past, are truly timeless, because time is, again, a human construct. So whatever you're gravitated to in your now moment, right? It's like, oh, there's a fish. Oh, there's a, right? Allow things to be more in like water. Like if you're a fish in water, or you get into water, we could scare other fish. Think if you're a fish, something else comes into the water, won't you be scared? We can detect things in the water. It's a lot more sensitive, sensory, right? Sometimes we can see more in the dark, right? Eyes wide shut. So, yeah, third eye blind. All right, y'all. Every moment is divine. And thank you for this now moment of yours in this present now moment in time. And I will see you on the flip side in the next one. All right. Peace out. Blessings.